This is the UTV 44 Game of the Week Preview Show, brought to you by Metro PCS.
Welcome. My name is Dan Brennan, along with Vic Lockett. We're kind of shifting things around a little bit this week. Jim Cox will be back with us for the ball game. It's the Metro PCS Preview Show. We are at the Metro PCS on Airport Boulevard right now, 7335 Airport Boulevard in Mobile. By the way, you can go to your nearest Metro PCS store today, get 2 lines of unlimited LTE data for just $80, period. Pretty good deal. We needed about as much data and as much much of everything as we could last week on the Hill at Spanish Fort. Before we get around to our previewing our big game between Murphy and Theodore tonight, let's recap or go back or try and wrap our brains around exactly what we saw last week, because I had conversations with members of each coaching staff that night and after the game over the weekend, and I don't think anybody really could figure out exactly what they had just witnessed.
I mean, it was definitely one of those games for the ages. I mean, we saw a blowout and then a comeback and all in one night, so it was an exciting game, and just hated to see one of the teams lose. If
you missed it, Spanish Fort got out to a 42-14 lead over a very talented Blunt team. And it was like, man, Blunt's got no answers at all. No way. They get a big touchdown right before the half. Suddenly, they've got the momentum. It looked like a completely different team, both teams in the second half.
Different team, different ball game in the second half, and we were glad to see at least Blunt went into halftime, and and I guess they woke up and decided to get off the bus, and it was a great comeback. Just unfortunately, they didn't have enough to overcome Spanish Fort, because we talked about it all through the game. That team expects to win, and they've got that expectation to win, so they hung in there.
You would never expect a team like Spanish Fort having 42 points to Blunt's 14 at one point, and the first team to 45 wasn't Spanish Fort. Blunt actually came back and took the lead, 45-42. We've seen some things in our day.
You've seen a lot more than I have. You've been doing the show a lot longer than I have.
Well, but even,
and that one had you flustered.
Really, I mean, again, it was a blowout and a nail biter all in one.
Sure.
What are those kids going through? Those two teams this past week?
Well, Spanish Fort, they probably took it and said, hey, we let down in the second half.
Sure.
And we needed to maintain our focus and intensity, because that sort of thing can happen if you kind of lay down just a bit. And on Blunt's side of things, they're looking at it and saying, hey, we had an opportunity. We played hard. We should have played the first half like we played the second half, and we wouldn't have been in that predicament. So now that may teach them that, hey, they've got resilience and can play with anybody and come back from any deficit. So I think that's something for Blunt to build on. And, I got to give the coaches over at Blunt, a tip of the hat to go back in there and get those guys fired up enough to play like that in the second half.
Okay, this is kind of the city versus kind of the country guys, because Theodore sits, outside the city limits of Mobile, and they don't have any love lost when the kids from Midtown come rolling in.
I'm looking for a great game. Murphy's playing a lot better this year, and Theodore's got a lot of talent as well. And I think Murphy has a lot of talent. So this should be a really, really great game, I think.
2 region opponents that know each other very well. Now, look at it this way. Top of the region, you've got McGill and you've got Fairhope. And they're undefeated, and they're eventually going to play probably for the championship of the region. After that, you got some tussling going on. These two teams are both at 2-2. This could be a play-in game, if you will.
Oh, absolutely. It's a play-in game because, neither team could afford another region loss. So I expect for them to come out and play really good football.
Okay, we come back. Coach Mo Barnes and Norman Weaver with the Murphy side of the equation. We'll talk to them on the way. We're at Metro PCS. This is the Metro PCS Preview Show. Dan and Vic, and some more guests on the way. Welcome you all to the Metro PCS Preview Show. Dan Brennan along with Vic Lockett, and the guests that we'll go ahead and introduce to you here in just a moment from Murphy High School. We're at the Metro PCS at 7335 Airport Boulevard in West Mobile. By the way, if you're a Murphy fan, maybe these Metro PCSs will do it for you. 1270 Spring Hill Avenue in Mobile, or 2206 Airport Boulevard in more of the Midtown area. Coach Muskegon Barnes with us with the Murphy Panthers, along with defensive end Norman Weaver. Welcome back to the show. Looking sharp tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your team's had a couple of tough losses, but your team continues from the outside looking in, playing pretty good football. Not getting all the W's you want, but playing some good ball and just getting eked out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, we pride ourselves on playing tough ball. You know, we want to go out there and play as hard as we can, and I preach to the kids. You know, if you play as hard as you can for as long as you can, you know, I'm okay with the outcome. You know, we lost a tough one last week to Foley. We lost 2 weeks ago to Saraland, 2 tough ones. But again, the kids play hard, and that's all you can expect from is for them to go out there and play as hard as they can.
No need for a letdown this week because of the consequences of what this game means. You've been an assistant a few years at Murphy now, and you know the lay of the land of this Murphy Theodore game. It's a big game on both campuses.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna you know, it goes back way before my time, but I mean, I know Coach Collier is looking forward to a good game as well as I am. I know our kids, we've been preaching all week. You know, this is a must-win for us. You know, I think Coach Collier probably says the same thing to his kids. You know, we're sitting at 2 and 3 in the region, or actually not 2 and 3, 2 and 2 in the region. So we can't afford another loss. And again, you know, I stress to the kids to go out there and play as hard as you can. Things are going to come out. You know, things are going to hopefully start falling our way. You know, again, if you continue to play hard, things will fall your way.
Victor Lockett, old number 99, what you got on your mind?
Well, you know, Coach, I want to say, you know, congratulations. I think the team is playing much better this year. We've seen Murphy in the past have all his talent, but it looks like this year you've got them all together and on the same page. I mean, what sort of things you did during the summer and in the fall preseason to kind of get us to what the product looks like now?
Well, I think it's a process. I mean, in the summertime, we ran a lot. And I think Norman
conditioning is always big.
Yeah, it's always you know, it's my thing. You know, to play this game, you know, you have to be in shape. We have 87 players now, and at any point, we had to start off fast. We know a lot of teams, I think they sort of wait until they get into game 3 or 4 to really be in shape. We didn't want to be like that. We had to come out. We had to come out swinging. You know, we started off with Baker, and then of course we had, you know, Brian and then McGill. You know, so we didn't have a lull time there. So you know, the summertime was very important for us. It was, you know, we installed a new offense. So you know, we wanted to make sure that we came out swinging. So we ran a lot. You know, and you know, the kids it's showing. You know, because every game, you know, it comes down to a play here, a play there, and it's never for the lack of effort. So you know, that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we're gonna go out there and give it our best shot. You know, and you know, effort is one of those things that you have to do. So of course you got to be in shape to do that.
Well, I hear that buzzword, you know, that Coach said.
Yeah, well,
the
there
process.
you go.
Yeah, and
exactly.
certainly the kids that are on the field have been processed through. So we've got a player here, and we can get his standpoint or viewpoint from that, because he kind of gave a grin when I said about the summer conditioner or summer program.
Talk about that, Norman. Talk about Coach Barnes and why the team is performing better this year.
I feel like we should be performing better than we are, because we ran a lot during the summer. I've never run that much. It was, lack of better words, it was brutal. It was, I mean, and I like running. I do like running, don't I?
Wow.
I don't mind running. But what's it called? I mean, we were running more than a mile a day. I mean, more than that a day. And
Sure.
we were doing it in a row. Big guys, little guys. I mean, we got 130s out there and 310s, 320s.
Wow.
Everybody's doing it.
Wow.
Talk about this guy and what he means to your defense.
You know, Norman he's gonna give it everything he has. You know, I've coached Norman, well, actually the last couple of years as a D lineman.
Sure.
You know, he's one of my favorites. You know, because he was like me when I was playing. You know, wasn't the biggest guy, but he had a heart. You know, and again, in this game, you know, if you can have those, if you can have a heart, you know, you can go out there and play with the best of the best. You don't have to be a 300-pounder to go out there and swing with a big 300-pounder. You can be a 220-pounder and use what God gave you, which is his brain, and go around them. You know, Norman has a heart. You know, so you know, if you have that, you know, I can work with that. And you know, every day since I've known Norman, he's come out there, he's given everything he has out there on the practice field and in the game.
I know you'll be keeping a close eye on the
I will be
defensive
checking
ends.
you know, he played my old position, and coach is speaking high of him. So, yes, I expect him to perform, especially if he likes running.
Yeah, I got you.
What you think about Theodore Bobcats?
They're an interesting team. I mean, y'all said it. They have talent. I mean, it's not somebody that we're gonna come in there sleepwalking on.
Yeah.
So they ain't gonna get no special treatment.
I got word for you. Murphy is a very improved team this year. Couple of tough losses here recently, but they're playing some pretty good football. Absolutely. So don't fall asleep on this game at all. It should be a great one in Theodore tonight. A couple of probably pretty evenly matched teams. We're at the Metro PCS 7335 Airport Boulevard in Mobile for the Metro PCS preview show. Back with the Theodore side of the equation, and talk to Coach Collier on the way on 95, not on 95 KSJ. That's where I do my radio thing. I knew it was going to slip up sooner or later. On UTV 44 in our preview show, and we'll talk to you again in moments. At the end of the last segment, you clearly know that I don't know who I am or where I am. I'm just trying to work it out
get
here.
Your name tag.
Yeah, I'll stare down at it. Dan Brennan along with Vic Lockett will introduce our guest from Theodore High School. It's the Metro PCS preview show on UTV 44. And by the way, in Theodore, you've got 5646 Old Pascagoula Road, Suite D. That's one Metro PCS store in that area, and also inside the Rouses on Theodore Dawes Road. And you can, of course, get your 2 lines of unlimited LTE data for just $80 period. That's a pretty good deal. Coach Thorpe, good to have you both here today. 2-2 in the region, playing pretty good football in a region that appears to be one where,
no one really truly stands out.
A lot of teams are very close and even, right?
You're right. This is one of those years where no one's really great from top to bottom. And what I mean by that is, you look at our region. McGill's playing pretty good football, and Davis has been a surprise. They're playing really good ball. Bottom line is this: they're taking care of the football. But this region's, there's still a lot of ball to be played, so it's still up for grabs, and we feel good about where we're sitting.
I think you should. And do you feel pretty good about the last 2 weeks too?
Yeah, especially the off week, was able to clean some things up and
breathe.
Well, yeah, and get some kids healthy. That was big for us. It couldn't have came at a better time. We were a little beat up, so we was able to get some practice done, but not really getting there and grind early last week. So was able to get some kids back. We feel pretty good about that. And again, coming off the Enterprise game, Enterprise was a good ball game for us. We played well. Probably the first complete game we've played where offensively, defensively, and special teams wide, we played well. So we felt good coming out of that. We just got to maintain that momentum.
Yeah.
Now, one of those open week things, usually coaches say, hey, we're just going to get back to fundamentals and that sort of thing and get ourselves better and look in the mirror. Was that sort of the way you guys spent this past week?
We took early last week and spent a lot of time in individual work and just kind of cleaned up the things. As your season gets going, a lot of times you're not careful, you'll get away from some of those things. And y'all know as well as to do is that's where it starts and ends, is in your fundamentals.
Well, I'll be the first to admit, as a player, you start getting away from the fundamentals that you learn in the summertime and start getting a little bit lazy about some of your reads and your steps. You guys clean that up in the open day.
Yeah, you got to go back in there and you got to make sure kids are rerouting receivers and making sure we're fitting up on tackles and running our feet, and offensive lines coming off and staying fitted up on blocks and taking care of backside backers, all those type things. Y'all know how it is.
I know how it is.
Go fix things while you can. So.
Exactly.
I think that I need a bye week.
Eric, then you'll figure out where you are.
Right? I think I need to work on some things as an announcer here. Keyshawn Gaston, very familiar name because he's been playing a long time.
3-year starter. Been with me a long time.
Talk about being a Theodore Bobcat. Talk about your relationship with your coach, and talk about this year's team and what you think you guys can accomplish.
With this year's team, it's way different. Now, I play with the Michael P. Ryan them. They had a lot of senior leadership.
Sure.
And last year, we had senior leadership, but it was a little rocky because everybody wanted to play for themselves. And Coach Clark really got us back right on that same path. And
now we got a game coming up against the Murphy Panthers, where if you've been playing at Theodore for 3 years, then you know this team very well, and a region opponent. talented opponent. Talk about how big this game is for y'all.
It's real big. This one of the games that you circle on this.
I guess that's
schedule.
why we're going to be there. That's why TV's showing up. The game of the week. And is it exciting also to be on TV?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's very exciting.
Okay.
Got a lot to prove.
Well, I know if I had the opportunity, I want to make a play or two and make sure, these guys call your name. So I know you guys have been talking about it, a little bit excited about us coming out and showing it on TV, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, good. Well, we're expecting a good game. And, this team has got a lot of talent. I'm really, truly excited to see them because there's been a lot of talk in the summer. Kind of tell me a little bit about some of your teammates and, how you guys feel you stack up against a very talented Murphy team.
Yes, first, I want to start out with Faison a lot. He came from, one of the people on the sideline just really ready to get in, and he really stepped up. And our quarterback, we really had some little rocky times, but, he really get the team going. And also Tyrone Hall, he played on the side of me. He one of the leaders on defense.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about your quarterback real quick, Eric. Trevor.
Trevor's another kid that's
Andrew.
been with us for 3 years.
Yeah.
Played a lot of football. And Trevor's kind of the guy that's got to make our offense click. You know how that is. And I was talking to the coaches this week about, back at it a little bit and let him start taking a little more of the leadership role. Let him make sure we line it up right and fix things for us. Because it's like I told the coaches this afternoon is, he's the one who's got to do it in the game. We're standing over there.
Absolutely.
So he's been doing it for 3 years. Now, if he was a first-year guy, I wouldn't expect that out of him. But he's been doing it for 3 years, and he understands what we're trying to get done. And he does a good job doing that. Now, we're blessed to have some other guys around him, but overall, Trevor does a good job for us.
Very good. Well, Theodore, in the years that we've done games, and more than I can count or you could count up at this point, always a physical team. They like to have an offensive line that kind of sets the pace and sets the standard, and always a team with some pretty good skill, too.
Always had great players, just couldn't seem to finish it off, the times that we've done the games. But I think Coach Carter's probably got them going in the right direction, and I bet they've done a bunch of conditioning as well in the summertime so that you can finish the game and just fit the win.
I've talked to our kids a lot about what you just said is for years we've been that team who you get there and you get in the first round and you don't advance. And that's our goal this year is number one, to have a home playoff game. Number two is to advance in the playoffs.
Okay.
Because and this is what's changed in the last 4 years. When you went to 7-8 football, you miss that first week of the playoffs because it's an off week for everybody. So, you get a win here, then next thing you know, you don't ever know how the card's going to fall.
You are so right. 7A has changed all of that. All right, when we come back, we will be rejoined by Coach
Collier.
Coach Collier and Coach Mo Barnes.
Yes.
And I still don't know who I am or where I am. Where the heck's Jim Cox at? We'll be right back with both coaches and talk about coaching right after this.
You guys are ready! You guys are ready!
Ticket, please.
Of course, I got it right here.
There's nothing there.
It's loading. It takes a little bit. Just...
Welcome back to the Metro PCS preview show. Dan Brennan, Vic Lockett, Muskegon Barnes from Murphy High School, Eric Collier from Theodore High School, as we kind of put a wrap on this and get ready for
some football.
Yeah, man, some football. We saw some football last week, didn't we?
We did.
I wanted to talk to you guys real quick about coaching. You too, Vic, because you've been around and played for some great coaches. All three of you, most influential coach you've had in your life.
That's all. Played for so many. Probably go back to Coach Jackie McCorvin, my D-line coach in high school.
Wow. How did he influence you?
He was my first position coach. He played ball at Mississippi State. Told me what was going to happen when I left and went to school. He didn't lie. And he was hard on me. When I was in school, but he knew how to. Put his arm around me and tell me, hey, things are gonna get better. So, but again, he was my coach for 3 years at Moss Point, and then I can say, Coach Jenkins, was at LSU right now. He was my coach for a couple of years. A lot of the stuff that when I was coaching D-line were some of the stuff that he taught me. So,
Coach,
you better mention Coach Jenkins.
Yeah,
he was good. That's for sure. I got two guys. You know, R.L. Watson was my high school coach in high school. And you know, I tell our kids this all the time is, you know, our job is to make them young men. And he did that. You know, I was a little skinny fella down in the Bayou, and small school, 4A football. But you know what? He brought us in, and number one, he taught us to love the game. Number two, he taught us to respect the game. And I tell you, you know, I owe a lot to him, because he gave me my first head coaching job. And he's always been a mentor to him. He's just like my second father.
Wow, how about that?
And the other one's Coach Probst. I worked with Rush Probst for 3 years. You know, and Rush has had a lot of success. But the thing I got from Rush is the desire and always chase the game. Always chase the game. And, you know, as soon as the season's over, he's out trying to learn something new. And that's the thing I got from him.
Wow. Real quick, Vic?
Well, I mean, you know, I can pick all of my coaches because I'm kind of like Coach Barnes. You know, is the first guy was Coach Sudahay, was Jim Sudahay, who was over at UMass, who was my position coach. But there's a little piece you can take from all of them and put together, and it kind of impacted my life from all of my coaches. I mean, from my middle school coach, Coach Robert Emanuel over at Scarville, on up to my head coach at the University of Alabama, being Coach Gene Stallings. So all of those guys have had different little niches where I picked a piece off from them.
Quick answer on this. Do wins give you a higher high, or losses take you to a lower low?
Well, I tell you what, my first win was a high. You know, it was my first win as a head coach. I mean, but a close loss, you know, that's a tough one. You know?
Coach, how about you?
When you lay it on the ground 5 times, yeah, that'll stay with you.
And that equals a loss.
Sure. But you know, I tell you, you know, this was crazy. You know, we were playing Enterprise last week. We're up 30-something to nothing, and it's the middle of the first quarter, and I'm thinking about those guys.
Wow. How about that?
See, it's like one of those deals where, okay, we won, or it looks like we're going to win. Now we've got to start worrying about the other opponent.
Well,
So
speaking of which, that game is straight ahead. You've got the preview here for Metro PCS, so now it's time to settle back and let these guys go to work and watch some football that we're really going to enjoy tonight. Murphy against Theodore, a big region matchup, and you're about to see it in seconds on UTV 44.